The greatest lie you have ever told yourself is that you do not have enough time. It is a comforting lie, a soft blanket that you wrap around your potential to protect yourself from the cold, hard truth of your own inefficiency. Let us look at the mathematics of reality for a moment. The billionaire building rockets, the single mother passing the bar exam, the athlete training for the Olympics, and you holding this device right now are all operating with the exact same currency. We are all given 24 hours in a day, 1,440 minutes, and 86,400 seconds. The clock ticks at the exact same merciless speed for the beggar as it does for the king. So, why is it that some people seem to bend time to their will, constructing empires and legacies, while you struggle to find 20 minutes to read a book or exercise your body? The answer is painful, but you need to hear it. You are not busy. You are distracted. You are not overwhelmed by the demands of the world. You are overwhelmed by your inability to say no to the noise. You claim you want to change your life, yet you donate hours of your day to the glowing rectangle in your pocket, scrolling through the curated lives of strangers until your eyes burn and your brain turns to mush. Time is not something you find. Time is something you steal back from the thieves you invited into your house. This audiobook is not going to be a polite collection of tips on how to color code your calendar or how to write a better to-do list. We are not interested in symptom management here. We are interested in a cure. We are going to perform a surgical procedure on your daily existence to cut out the tumors of distraction, validation-seeking, and laziness that are eating your future alive. If you are looking for a gentle pat on the back and permission to stay mediocre, turn this audio off right now. But if you are ready to face the brutal reality of where your hours are actually going, and if you are ready to reclaim the life that is rightfully yours, then stay with me. The world is built by those who master their time. Everyone else just works for them. Welcome to the 25th hour. Let us begin. Chapter 1. The Great Time Audit. You cannot save time if you do not know where you are bleeding it, and right now, you are bleeding time like a patient with an open wound. Most people walk through their lives in a state of semi-conscious delirium, believing that they worked hard all day when in reality they were just busy being distracted. You might feel exhausted at 8 p.m., but that exhaustion does not come from productivity. It comes from the constant switching of your attention between tasks that do not move the needle forward. Before we can build a system that gives you the freedom you desire, we must ruthlessly analyze where your hours are actually going. I want you to pause and think about the last 24 hours of your life. If a documentary crew was filming you, how much of that footage would show you doing deep, focused work, and how much would show you staring blankly at a screen, waiting for a notification to give you a sense of purpose? The Screen Time Challenge. We are going to start with the most painful metric of all, because numbers do not lie, only people do. I want you to physically take out your phone right now, unlock it, and navigate to your screen time settings or your digital well-being dashboard. Do not look away from the number you see there. If that number says 4 hours, or 5 hours, or even 6 hours, you have just found the reason why you are not successful yet. Let us do the math together. If you spend 4 hours a day on your phone, that is 28 hours a week. That is more than a part-time job that you are not getting paid for. In fact, you are paying for it with your sanity and your future. Over the course of a year, that adds up to roughly 60 full days of being awake, staring at a piece of glass. Imagine what you could achieve if you had 2 extra months every single year to work on your body, your business, or your mind. You are not suffering from a lack of time, you are suffering from a lack of discipline. This is the wake-up call you have been waiting for. The mobile phone is a tool, but for 99% of the population, it has become a master. When you wake up and the first thing you do is reach for that device, you are admitting that the world's agenda is more important than your own. You are reacting to emails, headlines, and updates before you have even decided what you want to achieve that day. This reactive state sets the tone for the next 12 hours, leaving you feeling scrambled and behind schedule before you have even brushed your teeth. Active versus passive time. We need to make a critical distinction between rest and numbness because they are not the same thing. Many people tell me that they scroll on their phones because they are tired and they need to relax. But scrolling is not relaxing. It is a state of high neural arousal where your brain is constantly processing new information, bright lights, and emotional triggers. This is why you can spend 2 hours on social media and feel more exhausted than when you started. True rest is restorative. True rest is sitting in silence, going for a walk without headphones, reading a book, or sleeping. Passive time is the garbage time where you are neither being productive nor effectively recovering. This is the gray zone where dreams go to die. Identify the leaks by tracking every single thing you do for the next 3 days in 30-minute intervals. Categorize your actions into 3 buckets, which are high-value work, true rest, and garbage time. You will likely find that you are losing hours to what we call transition costs. This is the time lost when you switch from one task to another. You finish a meeting, and instead of moving to the next task, you check your email, then you check the news, then you get a snack, and suddenly 45 minutes have vanished into the ether. The goal of this audit is not to make you feel guilty, but to give you data. Once you see clearly that you spent 3 hours yesterday arguing with strangers on the internet or watching videos of people living the life you want to live, you will realize that the problem was never the clock. The problem was always your focus. Chapter 2: Breaking the Digital Leash. We are now going to address the single greatest enemy of your potential, and it is likely sitting within arm's reach of you right at this very moment. It is the rectangular slab of glass and metal that you treat like an oxygen mask. You might think you own your phone, but for the vast majority of people, the phone owns them. It calls out to you with chirps and buzzes, demanding your attention like a crying infant, and you obey it instantly. You interrupt conversations with your loved ones to check a notification that does not matter. You stop working on your life's passion because the screen lit up with a discount offer for shoes you do not need. To reclaim your time, we must first break the digital leash that has been fastened around your neck. You need to understand that this addiction is not entirely your fault because the device was designed this way on purpose. On the other side of that screen, there are thousands of the smartest engineers and behavioral psychologists in Silicon Valley who are paid millions of dollars to do one thing, which is to keep your eyes glued to that screen for as long as possible. They are weaponizing your own biology against you. The dopamine slot machine. Every time you unlock your phone or pull down to refresh your social media feed, you are playing a slot machine. Sometimes you get a reward, like a funny video, a like on your photo, or an interesting news headline. Other times, you get nothing but boring updates. This unpredictability is what psychologists call intermittent reinforcement, and it is the exact same psychological mechanism that keeps gambling addicts in casinos until they have lost their life savings. Your brain releases a chemical called dopamine in anticipation of a reward. When you carry your phone in your pocket, you are carrying a portable dopamine dispenser that is available 24 hours a day. The problem is that this constant flood of cheap dopamine rewires your brain to become intolerant of boredom and slow progress. Building a business, getting in shape, or writing a book are slow processes. They do not offer immediate rewards. When your brain is addicted to the high-speed rewards of the digital world, the real world feels painfully slow and boring by comparison. This is why you cannot sit still. This is why you cannot focus on a difficult task for more than 15 minutes without feeling the urge to reach for the device. You are not just wasting time on your phone. You are training your brain to be weak and distracted. We are going to perform a factory reset on your relationship with technology. We are not going to become Luddites and throw our technology into the river, because smartphones are incredible tools when they are used with intention. A hammer is a great tool for building a house, but if you hit yourself in the face with it every 5 minutes, it becomes a weapon of self-destruction. Currently, you are hitting yourself in the face. The phone foyer method. The most effective way to break an addiction is not through willpower, because willpower is a finite resource that runs out as the day goes on. The most effective way is to change your environment. If you want to stop eating cookies, you do not leave a jar of cookies on your desk and try really hard not to eat them. You simply do not bring cookies into the house. We are going to apply this same logic to your digital device. I want you to introduce a new rule into your life starting today called the phone foyer method. When you walk into your home, your phone acts like a coat or a pair of muddy boots. It stays at the door. You plug it into a charger in the entryway, the kitchen, or a dedicated spot that is nowhere near where you relax or work. If you need to check something, you walk to the phone, use it while standing up, and then walk away. You will be shocked at how many times you instinctively reach for your pocket only to realize the phone is not there. This physical separation forces you to be present in your own life. It forces you to actually watch the movie you are watching or actually listen to the person you are speaking with. Rediscovering the power of boredom. There is a terrifying reason why we cling to our phones so tightly. We are terrified of being alone with our own thoughts. We have killed boredom. The moment we feel a second of inactivity, whether we are waiting for an elevator or standing in line for coffee, we immediately whip out our phones to sedate ourselves. Boredom is the birthplace of creativity, because when the brain is not consuming, it starts creating. Boredom allows you to process emotions, which prevents anxiety from building up in the background of your mind. When you remove the constant digital noise, you might feel anxious at first. You might feel a void. That void is good. That void is where your best ideas are hiding. That void is where you start to question your life direction and come up with solutions to your problems. By constantly plugging your ears and eyes with digital content, you are drowning out the voice of your own intuition. Turn the toy into a tool. If you must keep your phone near you for work, you need to make it as boring as possible. A colorful screen is candy for your primate brain. Go into your settings and turn your phone to grayscale mode, making the screen black and white. Suddenly, Instagram and YouTube look significantly less appealing. They look like a newspaper rather than a carnival. Next, you must turn off all non-human notifications. If a real human being is texting or calling you, that might be important. If an app is notifying you that a celebrity posted a new photo or that a game wants you to come back and play, that is an intrusion. That is a corporation reaching into your pocket and stealing your time. Turn those notifications off permanently. You should check your apps when you decide to check them, not when they summon you. The goal of this chapter is not to make you hate technology. The goal is to put you back in the driver's seat. You are the master, and the phone is the servant. If you cannot go to the bathroom without bringing your phone with you, you are the servant. Break the leash. Leave the phone in the other room. Watch how time suddenly slows down and expands, giving you the breathing room you have been desperate to find. Chapter 3. The Prison of Other People's Opinions. We have discussed the digital distractions that steal your hours, but now we must confront a far more insidious thief that steals your years. This thief is silent, invisible, and lives entirely inside your own head. It is the paralyzing fear of what other people think about you. You might not realize this is a time management issue, but I want you to calculate the mental energy you waste every single day, wondering if you said the wrong thing, or worrying if your outfit looks stupid, or hesitating to post that video because your friends from high school might laugh at you. Mental energy is time. When your mind is cluttered with anxiety about the opinions of others, you are running a background program that drains your battery and slows down your processing speed. You are not moving forward because you are too busy looking sideways to see who is watching. You are currently trapped in a prison where the door is unlocked, but you refuse to walk out because you are afraid the guards might make a comment about your walk. The spotlight effect. There is a psychological phenomenon known as the spotlight effect, which explains why you feel this way. We walk through life feeling like we are the main character in a movie and that everyone else is an audience member analyzing our every move. We believe that if we make a mistake or if we try something new and fail, the entire world will point and laugh. The liberating and somewhat humbling truth is that nobody cares about you as much as you think they do. They are not thinking about your awkward presentation. They are thinking about their own awkward presentation. They are not judging your new business idea. They are worrying about their own bills and their own insecurities. Everyone is the main character in their own movie, which means in their movie, you are just an extra in the background. You are agonizing over a decision for weeks, wasting precious time, while the people you are trying to impress have not thought about you for a single second. You are sacrificing your potential to buy the approval of people who do not even like themselves. Once you truly internalize that nobody is watching you closely, you become dangerous. You become free. You realize that you can attempt anything, and if you fail, the world will not explode. The sun will rise tomorrow, your coffee will taste the same, and the few people who might notice your failure will forget about it by lunchtime because they are too absorbed in their own lives. The critic math. Let us look at the mathematics of judgment because numbers help us see reality clearly. Let us assume you decide to change your life, start waking up at 5 a.m., and launch a new project. There might be 100 people in your social circle. Out of those 100 people, 90 of them will not care at all. They will be neutral. Perhaps 9 people will make a snide comment or give you a strange look because your change makes them feel insecure about their own lack of progress. And maybe, if you are lucky, one person will actually cheer you on. Most people stop their lives for the 9 negative people. They ignore the 90 neutral ones and the 1 supporter, and they fixate entirely on the critics. Why would you construct your life around the opinions of the people who want you to stay small? If you are afraid that people will think you are weird for working on your goals while they are out partying, let them think you are weird. Success is weird. Being average is normal. If you want a normal life, do what normal people do, which is worry about opinions. If you want an extraordinary life, you must be willing to be misunderstood for a long period of time. Hesitation is a time thief. The greatest cost of this fear is hesitation. Think about the last time you had a good idea. Did you act on it immediately, or did you sit on it? Did you wait for permission? Did you ask 5 different friends what they thought until the excitement died down and you did nothing? Hesitation kills momentum because the longer you wait to act, the heavier the fear becomes. Validation seeking is procrastination disguised as research. Every minute you spend hesitating is a minute you can never get back. Successful people do not have less fear than you. They just have a faster reaction time. They feel the fear and they act anyway before the fear has time to paralyze them. They understand that the only opinion that pays the bills is their own. The freedom of being disliked. You need to develop the courage to be disliked. It is a superpower. When you stop needing everyone to agree with you, you reclaim hours of time that used to be spent explaining yourself. You do not owe anyone an explanation for how you spend your time. You do not owe anyone an explanation for why you are not coming to the bar on Friday night. You do not owe anyone an explanation for why you are starting a podcast or writing a book. The moment you stop explaining yourself is the moment you start respecting your own time. You are here to do a job, not to win a popularity contest. If you are going to find the time to build the life of your dreams, you have to accept that you will disappoint some people. You will have to say no to their expectations. You will have to be the villain in their story so that you can be the hero in yours. Stop asking for permission to live your own life. The only permission slip you need is the one you sign yourself. Chapter 4. The Art of the Ruthless. No. We have arrived at the most practical and yet the most emotionally difficult skill you will ever need to master in your pursuit of freedom. You do not find time by looking under the cushions of your couch or by wishing for a 25-hour day. You find time by defending the time you already have. You must understand that your time is a territory, and currently that territory has no fences, no gates, and no guards. Anyone can walk in, plant a flag, and demand your attention. Your boss, your acquaintances, your family members, and even total strangers feel entitled to a piece of your day because you have never taught them otherwise. The default answer for most people is yes. We are conditioned from childhood to be polite, to be helpful, and to be agreeable. We fear that if we say no, we will be seen as rude or selfish. But this instinct to please everyone is the exact reason why you feel suffocated. Every time you say yes to something minor, you are implicitly saying no to something major. You cannot be in 2 places at once, and you cannot spend the same hour twice. The hidden cost of yes. When you say yes to a coffee meeting that you do not want to attend, or when you agree to help a friend move apartments when you should be working on your business, you are incurring a massive opportunity cost. You think you are just being nice, but you are actually stealing from your future self. That hour you spent listening to someone complain about a problem they have no intention of fixing is an hour you could have spent exercising, reading, or building the skills that would change your life. A yes is a debt that you have to pay back at some point in the future. When you agree to do something next Tuesday, you are writing a check against your future time. By the time Tuesday arrives, you will likely regret writing that check, but you will feel obligated to pay it. A no is a decision that costs you a moment of awkwardness right now, but it saves you hours or even days of freedom in the future. If you do not prioritize your life, someone else will prioritize it for you. You must begin to view your time as your most valuable asset, far more valuable than money. You can always earn more money, but you can never earn more time. If a stranger walked up to you and asked for $500, you would likely say no without hesitation. But if that same stranger asks for an hour of your time, you give it away freely. This is a fundamental error in valuation. You are guarding your pennies while leaving the vault to your life wide open. The hell, yes, or no rule. To solve the problem of overcommitment, you need a filtering system that is simple, binary, and ruthless. I want you to adopt the hell yes or no framework. When you are presented with an opportunity, an invitation, or a request, ask yourself if your immediate emotional reaction is hell yes. If it is not a hell yes, then it must be a no. Most of our clutter comes from the middle ground. It comes from the things we think we should do or the things that are kind of interesting. This middle ground is the kill zone. It is filled with lukewarm obligations that drain your energy without giving you any significant return. By raising your standards to only accept things that excite you deeply, or things that are absolutely essential to your survival and goals, you automatically clear away 90% of the noise. How to say no. With grace. The reason you struggle to say no is that you think you need to offer a complex excuse. You think you need to explain that your cat is sick, or that your car broke down, or that you are busy with work. But excuses are weak. Excuses leave the door open for negotiation. When you give a reason, the other person will try to solve your problem so that you can still say yes. Don't apologize for protecting your time because you are not doing anything wrong. Be direct and vague by saying, I have a prior commitment, even if that commitment is a date with yourself. You need to learn the art of the graceful refusal. You can say, thank you for thinking of me, but I am not taking on any new commitments right now so that I can focus on my current projects. This statement is polite, it is professional, and most importantly, it is final. It does not invite a counterargument. People actually respect boundaries. The first time you say no, they might be surprised. But over time, they will begin to value your time more because they see that you value it. When you are always available, you are a commodity. When you are rarely available, you are a luxury. You must become comfortable with the momentary discomfort of setting a boundary. That 5 seconds of awkwardness is the price of admission for a life of freedom. If you cannot pay that price, you will remain a slave to the agendas of others. Say no to the good so that you can say yes to the great. Chapter 5. Energy Management. Over time. Management. There is a massive misconception in the productivity world that time is a flat, uniform resource. We tend to believe that 1 hour at 8 in the morning is worth exactly the same as 1 hour at 8 in the evening. This is biologically and practically false. If I gave you 4 hours to work on your most important project, but those 4 hours were between midnight and 4 in the morning after a long day of hard labor, how much quality work would you actually produce? You would likely stare at the screen, make mistakes, and produce garbage. However, if I gave you just 60 minutes of high-intensity focus right after a good night of sleep and a strong cup of coffee, you would likely achieve more in that single hour than you did in the previous 4. This brings us to a critical realization. You do not need more time. You need more energy. Time management is irrelevant if your energy management is broken. You can organize your calendar perfectly, color-coding every block, but if you show up to those blocks exhausted, foggy, and irritable, you are wasting your time. The golden hour. Every human being has a specific window during the day when their cognitive abilities peak. For some, this is the early morning before the sun rises. For others, the night owls. It might be late at night when the world is quiet. This is your biological prime time, or what we will call your golden hour. The tragedy is that most people waste their golden hour on low-value tasks. They spend their peak energy commuting, checking emails, or scrolling through social media. By the time they finally sit down to do their life's work, their battery is already at 50%. You must identify your peak window and protect it with your life. If you are a morning person, you should not be spending 8 a.m. answering emails. You should be building your empire. You should be writing your book. You should be doing the hardest, most cognitively demanding task on your list. Push the meetings, the calls, and the administrative busy work to the afternoon when your brain begins to slow down. 1 hour of work during your golden hour is worth 4 hours of work during your slump. Stop trying to manage your time and start managing your biology. The cost of decision fatigue. Your brain is like a battery, and every decision you make drains a small amount of power. It does not matter if the decision is major, like buying a house, or minor, like choosing what to eat for breakfast. The biological cost is surprisingly similar. This is why you often feel completely drained at the end of a workday, even if you sat in a chair all day. You are suffering from decision fatigue. This is why icons like Steve Jobs or Mark Zuckerberg were famous for wearing the same outfit every single day. They were not fashion illiterate, they were geniuses of energy conservation. They refused to waste a single unit of their daily mental energy on a trivial decision like what to wear. They saved that energy for decisions that actually moved the needle. You need to automate the mundane aspects of your life. Eat the same healthy breakfast every day. Set out your clothes the night before. Standardize your workout routine. By removing these small choices, you stop your brain from leaking energy before you even start your real work. You want to arrive at your desk with a full tank of fuel, not a tank that has been emptied by the stress of looking for your keys or deciding which route to drive to work. The biological machine. We often treat our bodies like convenient vehicles that carry our brains around. But your brain is a biological organ that requires specific fuel. You cannot cheat sleep and expect to find time. When you cut your sleep from 8 hours to 5 hours to buy more time, you are making a terrible trade. You gain 3 hours of awake time, but you lose roughly 30% of your cognitive function, your emotional regulation, and your ability to focus. You become a zombie. A zombie might be awake for longer, but a zombie cannot build a legacy. Sleep is an investment that pays dividends in speed and clarity the next day. Hydration is fuel because a dehydrated brain operates significantly slower than a hydrated one. If you are truly serious about finding time, you must treat your body like a high-performance machine. You need to sleep enough to recover. You need to drink water to keep your brain lubricated. And you need to move your body to generate energy. It sounds simple, almost too simple, but look around you. How many people are actually doing it? Most people are fueled by sugar, caffeine, and stress. They are redlining their engines until they burn out. When you have high energy, you work faster. You make better decisions. You handle stress with grace. Suddenly, a task that used to take you 3 hours now takes you 45 minutes. That is where you find the time. You do not find it on the clock. You find it in your own capacity to execute with intensity. Chapter 6. Systems for the Chaotic Mind. We have discussed the psychology of time, the addiction to technology, and the importance of biological energy. Now, we must build the actual infrastructure that will hold your life together. You cannot rely on willpower alone to manage your day, because willpower is an emotional resource that fluctuates with your mood. You might feel motivated on Monday morning, but by Wednesday afternoon, that motivation will likely have evaporated. When motivation fails, you sink to the level of your systems. If you have no systems, you sink into chaos. The reason most people feel overwhelmed is not because they have too much to do, but because they are operating without a framework. They wake up and react to whatever lands in front of them. They treat their inbox like a to-do list, which is a fatal error because your inbox is simply a list of other people's priorities. To find time for everything, you must move from a reactive state to a proactive architecture. We are going to implement 3 specific protocols that will act as the scaffolding for your day. The law of time blocking. There is a universal rule known as Parkinson's law, which states that work expands to fill the time available for its completion. If you give yourself 8 hours to write a report, it will take you 8 hours. You will procrastinate, you will get coffee, you will stare at the wall, and you will eventually finish it at 5 p.m. However, if you give yourself only 2 hours to write that same report because you have a hard deadline, you will miraculously find a way to get it done in 2 hours. The pressure forces you to focus. You must apply this pressure artificially through a method called time blocking. Instead of writing a vague to-do list, you place your tasks directly onto your calendar as if they were meetings. You schedule a block from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. for deep work. You schedule a block from 2 p.m. to 3 p.m. for administrative tasks. When the block starts, you do nothing but that task. When the block ends, you stop. This method serves 2 purposes. First, it forces you to be realistic about how long things take. You cannot fit 20 hours of work into a 12-hour day when you see it visually on a calendar. Second, it protects you from distractions. When a colleague asks for a minute of your time, you can honestly say that you are in a meeting, even if that meeting is just with yourself and your work. You must respect these blocks with the same intensity that you would respect a meeting with a CEO. A calendar without boundaries is just a wish list waiting to be ignored. The power of batching. The human brain is not designed for multitasking. It is designed for single tasking. Every time you switch from writing a document to checking an email, your brain has to unload the context of the first task and load the context of the second task. This creates a cognitive penalty known as attention residue. It can take up to 20 minutes to regain full focus after a distraction. If you are constantly switching back and forth, you are essentially driving a car with the handbrake on. The solution is a technique called batching. You group similar tasks together and do them all at once. Do not check your email every 10 minutes. Instead, schedule 3 specific 30-minute blocks during the day to process all your emails at once, perhaps at 10 a.m., 1 p.m., and 4 p.m. Do not make phone calls sporadically throughout the day. Batch them all into a single hour where you sit down and hammer out 5 calls in a row. Batching reduces friction because once you are in the flow of a specific type of task, it becomes easier to keep going. Batching creates deep focus windows because by condensing the shallow work, you open up large, uninterrupted blocks for the deep work that actually matters. Think of it like doing laundry. You do not wash a single pair of socks every time you take them off. You wait until you have a full pile, and then you wash everything at once. It is efficient. Yet, most people treat their work like washing one sock at a time, running back and forth to the machine all day long and wondering why they are exhausted. The 2-minute rule. While we want to batch most things, there are small tasks that are like mental mosquitoes. They are tiny, but if they accumulate, they can swarm your mind and cause anxiety. These are things like replying to a simple text, filing a document, or scheduling an appointment. For these micro tasks, you should use the 2-minute rule. The rule is simple. If a task takes less than 2 minutes to complete, do it immediately. Do not write it down. Do not schedule it. Do not put it on a to-do list. Just do it now. The time it takes to write it down, remember it, and come back to it later is often longer than the time it takes to just finish it. This keeps your mental RAM clear. Your brain is for having ideas, not for holding them. If you are walking around trying to remember to buy milk, send an email, and call your mother, you are using precious processing power for storage. Clear the small things instantly so that your heavy mental machinery is free to tackle the big problems. By combining these three systems, which are time blocking for the big work, batching for the repetitive work, and the 2-minute rule for the small work, you create a structure that is unbreakable. You stop hoping for a productive day, and you start engineering one. Chapter 7. The Gap Time. If you look closely at a sponge, you will see that it is mostly made of holes. Our days are structured in a similar way. We tend to focus only on the solid matter, which are the big blocks of time, like our work day, our sleep, and our gym sessions. But if you look closer, you will find that your day is full of holes. There are gaps between the events. There is the time you spend commuting to work, the time you spend waiting in line at the grocery store, the time you spend folding laundry, and the time you spend waiting for the coffee machine to heat up. Most people treat these gaps as trash time. They view it as a necessary evil, a period of waiting that must be endured until the real life begins again. They fill these moments with mindless scrolling or staring blankly into space. But for the person who is obsessed with high performance, these gaps are not trash. They are gold dust. When you sweep up enough gold dust, you eventually have a gold bar. These hidden pockets of time are what I call gap time. If you analyze the average person's schedule, these gaps can easily add up to 2 or 3 hours a day. That is 14 to 21 hours a week. If you are complaining that you do not have time to learn a new language, or study investment strategies, or listen to this audiobook, you are lying. You have the time. It is just fragmented. The secret is not to find a solid block of 4 hours, but to learn how to utilize the 15-minute fragments that are already there. The University on Wheels. The most obvious and underutilized gap is the commute. The average person spends roughly 45 minutes to an hour every day in their car or on public transport. Over the course of a year, that accumulates to roughly 250 hours. To put that into perspective, that is the equivalent of 6 standard 40-hour work weeks. You are spending a month and a half of your work life sitting in a box moving from point A to point B. You have a choice. You can turn your car into a mobile entertainment center where you listen to the same 10 songs on the radio and listen to DJs talk about celebrity gossip, or you can turn your car into a university on wheels. With the technology we have today, you can listen to lectures from the greatest minds in history. You can learn philosophy, economics, or psychology while you are stuck in traffic. If you commute for an hour a day and you are not learning, you are voluntarily throwing away a PhD worth of knowledge every 3 years. I want you to make a rule for your vehicle or your train ride. The rule is that the engine does not start until the learning starts. This simple habit alone can put you in the top 1% of your field because while your competition is zoning out, you are sharpening your blade. Standardizing the mundane. Beyond the commute, there are the household tasks that require your hands, but not your brain. Washing dishes, vacuuming the floor, mowing the lawn, and folding clothes are all low cognitive load activities. Your body is occupied, but your mind is free to wander. Unfortunately, most people let their minds wander into anxiety or regret during these times. You must couple these physical tasks with audio learning. This is a concept known as temptation bundling. If you hate folding laundry, but you love listening to your favorite business podcast, you combine them. Suddenly, you look forward to the laundry because it is your chance to learn. You are effectively cloning yourself, getting double the output for the same unit of time. You are maintaining your life and upgrading your mind simultaneously. The danger of constant noise. However, there is a critical warning I must give you, and this is where many productivity gurus get it wrong. You should not fill every single second of silence with noise. There is a difference between passive consumption and active processing. If you listen to audiobooks for 12 hours a day without stopping, you will not retain the information, and you will likely burn out. You need to distinguish between input time and processing time. Input time is when you are listening to a podcast or an audiobook. Processing time is when you are in silence, allowing your brain to connect the dots. Use the commute to learn, but use the walk from the car to the office to think. Use the cleaning time to listen, but use the shower time to let your mind wander and generate ideas. Do not be afraid of silence. Sometimes the best way to use gap time is to simply breathe and reset your nervous system. If you have had a high-stress meeting, do not immediately plug a podcast into your ears. Use the 10-minute drive home to drive in silence. Let your brain decompress. This is not wasted time. This is recovery time. By the time you walk through your front door, you will be present for your family instead of carrying the stress of the office with you. The goal of utilizing gap time is not to become a robot who is constantly processing data. The goal is intentionality. It is about waking up from the trance of the default setting. When you find yourself waiting in a line, catch yourself. Do not instinctively reach for your phone to scroll social media. Make a conscious choice. Ask yourself, do I need to learn something right now? Do I need to send a quick email? Or do I need to just stand here and enjoy the fact that I am alive? Whatever you choose, make sure it is your choice, not a reaction to boredom. Chapter 8. The Identity Shift. We have spent the last 7 chapters discussing the tactics, the strategies, and the tools you need to reclaim your time. We have covered how to audit your schedule, how to break your phone addiction, how to say no, and how to manage your energy. But all of these tools are useless if we do not address the foundation upon which your entire life is built. That foundation is your identity. You can have the best calendar app in the world and the most detailed plan for your day, but if you still view yourself as a disorganized person who is always running late, you will subconsciously sabotage your own success to remain consistent with that identity. Behavior modification is temporary, but identity shifts are permanent. If you try to change your schedule without changing your mind, you are merely acting. You are playing a role that feels foreign and uncomfortable, and eventually, the exhaustion of pretending will catch up with you, causing you to snap back to your old habits. To truly find time for anything, you must stop trying to do what productive people do, and you must start being the kind of person who values their existence enough to command their own time. The language of the victim. The shift begins with the language you use when you speak to yourself and to others. Listen closely to how average people talk about their lives. They use phrases like, "I can't find the time," or "I am too busy," or "Life is just crazy right now." These are the phrases of a victim. When you say, "I can't find the time," you are implying that time is something external that is hiding from you and that you are helpless to locate it. You are surrendering your agency to the chaos of the universe. You must eliminate these weak phrases from your vocabulary immediately. Instead of saying, "I don't have time," you must start saying, "It is not a priority." There is a profound psychological difference between these two statements. If you say, "I don't have time to work out," you are lying. If you say, "Working out is not a priority for me right now," you are telling the truth. It might be an uncomfortable truth, but it is an honest one. This shift forces you to take ownership of your choices. You are not a victim of a shortage of hours. You are the architect of your own priorities. You do not attract what you want. You attract who you are. The smoker. Analogy. Consider two people who are trying to quit smoking. When offered a cigarette, the first person says, "No, thank you, I am trying to quit." The second person says, "No, thank you, I am not a smoker." It sounds like a small difference, but the gap between them is massive. The first person still believes they are a smoker who is attempting to do something difficult. The second person has fundamentally shifted their identity. They no longer identify with the habit. You must apply this to your time management. Stop saying, "I am trying to be more organized." Start saying, "I am a disciplined person." Stop saying, "I am trying to wake up early." Start saying, "I am a morning person." When you adopt the identity of the person you want to become, your brain will work tirelessly to prove you right. Your subconscious mind hates cognitive dissonance. It wants your actions to align with your beliefs. If you truly believe you are a high performer, you will naturally feel uncomfortable when you waste 2 hours scrolling on social media because that behavior contradicts who you are. The ripple effect of self-respect. There is a fascinating external benefit to this internal shift. When you begin to value your own time with absolute conviction, the world around you will begin to value it as well. People treat you exactly how you teach them to treat you. If you are the person who always answers the phone on the first ring, who always stays late at the office to fix other people's mistakes, and who never says no, you are teaching the world that your time has zero value. You are a doormat, and doormats get stepped on. However, when you undergo this identity shift, your demeanor changes. You become less available, not out of arrogance, but out of purpose. You take longer to reply to non-urgent messages. You decline invitations that do not align with your goals. Surprisingly, people will not respect you less. They will respect you more. Scarcity creates value. When your time is scarce, people will treat it like a precious commodity. They will come to your meetings prepared. They will stop bothering you with trivial questions. By respecting yourself, you force the world to rise to your standard. Designing the perfect avatar. I want you to engage in a mental exercise that elite athletes and CEOs use to program their minds for success. I want you to visualize the version of yourself that has already achieved everything you want. This is your avatar. How does this version of you walk? How do they speak? How does their calendar look? The avatar does not panic when a deadline approaches. They execute with calm precision. The avatar does not seek validation from social media. They seek validation from their own results. Every morning when you wake up, before you check your phone or drink your coffee, you need to step into this avatar. You need to put on this identity like a suit of armor. Ask yourself, what would the best version of me do right now? Would the best version of you hit the snooze button? Would the best version of you eat a donut for breakfast? Would the best version of you procrastinate on that difficult email? The answer is almost always no. By constantly referencing this higher identity, you bridge the gap between who you are and who you want to be. Eventually, the gap disappears. You are no longer acting, you have simply become that person. This is the ultimate secret of finding time. It is not about finding a 25th hour in the day. It is about becoming the kind of person who is too focused, too driven, and too respectful of their own life to waste the 24 hours they have already been given. The old you is dead. The new you has work to do. Conclusion. The deathbed perspective. We have reached the end of our time together, and now you stand at a crossroads. Over the course of these chapters, we have dismantled the illusions that have been keeping you small. We have exposed the lie that you are too busy, and we have revealed the uncomfortable truth that you have simply been distracted, fearful, and disorganized. You now possess the tactical tools to audit your day, to break the chains of your digital addiction, to weaponize the word no, and to manage your biology for maximum energy. But before I let you go, I need to share one final perspective with you, because without it, all of these techniques are just administrative tricks. This perspective is not about productivity, it is about mortality. The ancient Stoics had a practice called memento mori, which translates to remember that you must die. In our modern world, we spend so much energy trying to ignore this reality. We distract ourselves with entertainment and trivial problems so that we do not have to face the ticking clock. But hiding from the clock does not stop it from ticking. I want you to close your eyes for a moment and imagine yourself at 90 years old. You are sitting in a chair, your body is frail, your time is up, and you are looking back at the movie of your life. Imagine looking back at this specific moment in time. Imagine the pain of realizing that you spent the prime years of your life worrying about what strangers thought of you on the internet. Imagine the regret of realizing that you traded your dreams for the safety of a steady paycheck and a comfortable routine. Imagine realizing that you had the potential to build something magnificent, but you were too busy scrolling through other people's lives to build your own. Regret is the only thing more painful than discipline. Now, I want you to shake off that image and realize where you are right now. You are not 90 years old. You are alive. You have air in your lungs, blood in your veins, and a future that has not yet been written. This is your second chance. The visualization you just experienced was a warning, not a prophecy. You have the power to change the ending of the movie, but you must start directing it today. There is no such thing as the 25th hour. There never will be. There is only this hour. There is only right now. The time you are looking for is not going to magically appear when you get a promotion, or when the kids grow up, or when you retire. The time is here, hiding in plain sight, waiting for you to claim it. Do not just listen to this audiobook and nod your head. Do not file this information away in your brain as interesting advice and go back to your old habits tomorrow. That would be a tragedy. Instead, I want you to take action immediately. In a moment, this audio will stop. When silence returns, do not click on the next video. Do not check your notifications. I want you to put your phone down, walk into a room where it is quiet, and look at your life with fresh eyes. Pick one thing you are going to say no to. Pick one distraction you are going to delete. Pick one dream you are finally going to schedule. You have a life to build, and the clock is ticking. The world is waiting to see who you become when you finally stop making excuses and start making time. This concludes our journey today. Thank you for listening. If you found value in this, please leave a like. It really helps the channel. I'd also love to hear your favorite takeaway in the comments below. Subscribe for more audiobooks, and I'll see you in the next one.